Straight first to our headlines today. Exclusive Minister of State for Human Resource Development Shashi Tharoor has opened up on his life post the death of his wife Sunanda Pushkar Tharoor for the first time ever. Speaking exclusively to Headlines Today's Naveen Nair, Tharoor said that it's been a painful 5 weeks for him and the personal loss has taken a severe emotional toll.
Joining me at this moment is Union Minister Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who is very close to contesting and who is very close to seeking a re-election. Dr. Tharoor, the big question everybody wants to know, are you going to seek a re-election from Thiruvananthapuram?
Well, I think that depends very much on the party. The party will decide who our candidates are going to be. And in Kerala, as you know, we have an alliance. So the allies also have to come on board. But if I'm offered the opportunity to contest, I certainly will.
Right. Sir, the last few months have been terrible. The last few months have been, politically as well as personally. How would you look back to the last few months, perhaps the worst months in your life?
I wouldn't say months. Certainly, it's been about 1 month since I lost my wife, 5 weeks now. And these 5 weeks have been excruciatingly painful in all sorts of ways, above all the personal bereavement. We were very close for 4 years, and 4 years is a very short time, but a very intense time in one's life. And the abrupt and sudden tragedy has obviously taken a severe toll emotionally and psychically. On top of that, horrified to discover that some people will stoop so low as to use my personal tragedy for their political benefit, and that some people have chosen to head in that direction is truly a disgrace. Fortunately, Sunanda's son, father, brothers have stood solidly by me. No one has any suspicion whatsoever of any foul play. We are in mourning and in shock, but we're not going to allow Sunanda's memory to be soiled by other people's petty politics, or indeed by the media's quest for cheap TRPs, which is also a factor in this. And though we have not been allowed to grieve in peace, we've determined to honor her memory in the right way by doing as she would have wanted us to do, moving forward with our lives.
The CPI and the BJP, which are your main opponents here in Thiruvananthapuram, obviously they are waiting to unleash a campaign against you on the personal front also. You very well know about it. How would you counter that? Because you have been an MP who's done outstanding work in Thiruvananthapuram. Everybody knows it. But doesn't these personal allegations overshadow the kind of work you have done? How will you go to the voter and explain that?
First of all, there are no credible personal allegations. I've actually led a fairly open and above board life, and I think that any specific allegation that can be made can be easily refuted. Because the thing about me is that my life has always been an open book. That was what was held against me in the past. Suddenly they want to create imaginary actions and problems, so they can create them, but unless they can prove them, the onus should not be on the innocent person to prove his innocence. The onus should be on those making the charges. The CPI indeed issued a statement alleging that Sunanda had tweeted certain things against me, and of course her tweets are a matter of public record. What she has said is exactly the opposite of what the CPI claims, and by putting that out in the public domain, we have shamed the CPI into withdrawing those shameful remarks. I don't know what else they're going to be alleging, but when they make any specific allegations, we have answers. Because the one thing I have, thank God, is a clear conscience. There is nothing that I need to hide or need to be worried about. We have cooperated fully, for example, with the police investigation into the cause of her death, even though there is no case or investigation against me personally or against anyone, because frankly it seems increasingly clear that a tragedy happened that is health related and not related to anything else. But we're waiting for the police to conclude their investigation, and we'll see what the final determination by the doctors and the medical authorities the police consult will finally come up with. But despite all that, full cooperation has been there, and certainly once that their work is done and they have got the cooperation they need, then we can see whether politicians deserve an answer for their petty, wild imaginings.
Right. So perhaps one person who would look at you answering is Subramanian. Swamy. The last time when he came here, when Narendra Modi was here, he went on to the extent of saying that Sunanda was murdered and Shashi Tharoor has to answer it. How do you counter such allegations? What answer do you have to such people?
Well, first of all, I think it's been a long time in Indian political history since anyone has taken Subramanian Swamy seriously. But having said that, since he claims to know about a murder that nobody else, not even the police, knows about, I think he should produce the evidence. Let us tell us who murdered her, and let us immediately have an investigation. I, as you know, called for an investigation within 24 hours when I realized there was this horrible speculation, completely unjustified, but speculation going on. I immediately called for an investigation, and we have had that investigation. The police, in fact, have been at it for 5 weeks so far. Right. So let's see what they come up with. And as far as we're concerned, since we have absolutely nothing to be worried about in terms of ourselves. If Subramanian Swamy has some inside information about some murderer, believe me, the family would be the first who'd want to know. Right. But frankly, I've long since stopped taking Mr. Swamy seriously.
Right. So are you happy with the kind of investigation that's been going on? It's been a slow process for quite some time, you'd say, but are you happy with the kind of investigation that's been going on?
No, I mean, first of all, it's not for me to judge the nature of the investigation because I'm not privy to all that they're doing. Right. I'm certainly not happy with the amount of time it's taking because, of course, the longer it takes, the more this kind of nonsense speculation goes on. Right. But who can tell the authorities what time they need to do their job properly? I think we have to respect the process. Right. As someone who upholds our system very strongly, I have to respect the process, and I do respect the process. Let the police take the time they feel they need. But increasingly clear, since they have not filed any FIR, there is no case, there is no charge sheet, increasingly clear that there is no basis for taking this very, very much further. I hope that they will be in a position to come up with a conclusion before too long. I think all of us in the family and those of us who are concerned about the situation would want to see this matter laid to rest.
So you and Sunanda, both of you were seen across the Thiruvananthapuram. You were there, but Padmanabha Swamy temple before you left. You were seen as a happy couple everywhere. When this happened, how did you take all these things lying down when it happened?
Well, I broke down. I mean, I must say we were a happy couple. We had our share of ups and downs because Sunanda is a wonderfully emotional human being. But you know, her emotionalism went up and down. You know, it was not that she was constantly angry or constantly negative or constantly emotional. She had various sides to her personality, and most of them were utterly delightful. And I have to say that I miss her every day. I miss her all the time. Every single day in this flat or in my home in Delhi carries so many reminders of our time together, things that she has done, she has created, she has prepared, and I miss her all the time. But the fact is that the speculation was unwarranted at the very start. What people have unfortunately forgotten is even some of the things that Sunanda may have said emotionally on the 15th, she had retracted on the 16th, where he issued a joint statement. She had published a number of tweets denying some of the stories that have been attributed to her, and she had been quoted. So when she died, we were actually in a good place. And the record, as I said, is a public record that speaks for itself. Her tweets are a matter of public record. Anyone can see them. She was a very expressive person. She has sent messages, I'm sure, in writing to lots of friends. And every one of her friends has called me to express their affection as well as their sadness. People who have known her for 25 years, I've only known her for 4. Yeah. But, for example, one of her friends who came with her from Dubai and spent the night in the hospital in Trivandrum, the nights alongside her, she has been amongst those who has not only shown her support and her friendship, but has written a statement for the police, so that some of the speculation she has read in the papers can be buried once and for all. All the long-term friends, all the family, everyone has been totally supportive of us, and they understand my grief and my loss.
So almost most of the people who sympathize with you, to some extent, a few would always feel that these are some things which have remained in the four corners of your house, but it went out. There are a lot of things which are washed in the public. How do you look at that, sir?
No, I have always been a much more private person, and so yes, I was not totally happy when some things were said publicly that could have stayed within the four walls of the house. But what has happened has happened. We can't do anything about it. But I think you will see that me, as the private individual I am, will go back to being as private as I've always been. I have never, in all my long innings in the United Nations or in public life, I've never been a particularly shall we say, a person who's had much to say about private life in public. Right. I went through a marriage with a very expressive person, right, and so perhaps a lot was shown and expressed in public that in future will not be. But it was, she's left me with some wonderful memories, yeah, and I cherish the positive things about them.
Right. While we appreciate the fact that you've come out of it and you're trying to come out of it and fight an election, the BJP at the other end is now saying that you've come out of mourning, and through the social media they're trying to attack you. How do you counter that? What answer would you give to that?
Well, frankly, I think grief is a very private emotion. I don't think anybody in the BJP has any business to know what I'm feeling, and in fact, if they did, they should all immediately qualify for a psychology or psychiatry degree. I know what emotions I feel. I know the pain that crosses me several times a day. I know what it's like to switch off the light alone in your room and know she's no longer there. I don't think that any politician has any business, or any foot soldier, as these social media twits are, have any business to judge how other people feel about a bereavement. God save them from having to go through the same pain I have.
What has been the High Command stand with you? Have you stand with you? You said the High Command will decide whether you will contest the elections or not. Are you worried? Is the High Command worried that this election will be fought on, in Trivandrum at least, on your personal grief rather than the development which you have done?
Well, I certainly don't think so. Not only has the High Command, the shape of the party president, called me personally, along with the entire party leadership, have all come during the period of immediately after the tragedy to express their condolences. But as you know, the party has named me an official spokesman, and I have been proud and privileged to speak for the party, including on the last party briefing at the end of the Parliament session. So for me, I remain committed to the values and principles of the Congress party, and I have been proud to be a voice for that party. I do believe that I have a role to play as an effective constituency MP. I've actually done better than I expected of myself, and therefore I would certainly dearly like an opportunity to be able to once again show that I've earned the right to represent the people of Thiruvananthapuram.
Okay. So one last question, how do you see the prospects of the Congress this time round in Kerala?
I would say our prospects are pretty good. You know, the people of Kerala have seen a very effective period in the last couple of years with the UDF government, which is the local counterpart of the UPA, minus the NCP, which is not part of the UDF. And as far as we're concerned, we believe that the people will actually reward us for our good work. There was a time when the party was divided rather bitterly into two feuding factions, and that created a very negative atmosphere in the public opinion polls. But that has changed. The factions have reunited very effectively. There is no more internal dissension. The party is working as one, and it has done effective work. So I have every reason to be optimistic that the Congress party will surprise the critics from elsewhere with how well we're going to be doing in Kerala.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. and all the best.